We don't have Bill today. What are we going to do?
It seems very strange.
It does.
Yeah.
Well, it all rests on you, Dan.
And you all as well. We're a team here. So.
There it is. Right.
Okay, we're live.
Okay, thank you. All right, we can get started. Now I'd like to call the regular board meeting to order. Meeting called to order at 6:03. We can go with roll call. Jim Anderson, he's not here right now. Dr. Falvo Lang.
Here.
Maria Higgy.
Present.
Carmelita Smith.
Here.
Cindy Sutter.
Here.
And Dan Sutter here. Can go to in memoriam. We extend our sincere condolences to the families of the following people who have passed away since our last meeting. For those we serve, Robert Blaine Eisenbrei. Robert, age 74, passed away Wednesday, April 28th. He attended Cornerstone Day program and received services from the SSA department. And Mark Thomas Schillig, Mark, age 61, passed away Saturday, May 1st. He received services from the SSA department. Let's have a moment of silence to honor their life and passing. Okay, thank you. I now need a motion to approve minutes from the regular board meeting held April 27th.
Higgy moves.
Second.
Falvo Lang seconds.
Thank you. Any additions, revisions, or corrections? With none, all in favor of approval of board minutes, say aye.
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 Opposed, say nay. No abstentions. Minutes are approved. So now we go to recognition of retirees, and Connie Holton will do the honors.
Hey. Good morning or good afternoon, board.
Good
Let
afternoon.
me just. Whoops. Sorry, my share's not working. Brandon, are you able to pull up the PowerPoint?
Yes, Connie, he will.
Okay, great. Thank you. Okay. This evening, we'd like to recognize three ladies, Carolyn Keller, Joan Lamp, and Leslie Reed. And these ladies are retiring in June and July as they're all school employees. So first we have Carolyn Keller. Carolyn has been an intervention specialist assistant at Southgate for 24 years. And there she is with her artwork. Next, we have Joan Lamp, and Joan is pictured there with her artwork she's receiving from Tammy Maney there on the right. Joan has been a follow-along at Eastgate for 13 years of service. And lastly, we have Leslie Reed, and Leslie has been an intervention specialist at Southgate, and she has 32 years of service with the board. So we wish each of these ladies a long and happy retirement, and just are so appreciative for all their years of service and wish them the very best. Thank you.
Okay, very nice. Thank you. And congratulations to those retirees. We now at this time will entertain anyone for public speaks. Anyone there for public speaks?
There's no one here.
Okay, sounds good. All right, we'll go to the President's report. Good evening again. I've been monitoring the fiscal year 2022-23 Ohio budget bill, and there's legislation that may extend virtual meetings until the end of the year. At this time, virtual meetings are only approved through June. So we'll be monitoring this closely, and I'd like to get everyone's feedback. If you've got thoughts about returning to in-person meetings, of course, legislation permitting. If legislation is not approved, we'll be back in person for our August meeting. So I'll just open it up quickly for any thoughts, or if we're okay, we'll just go as proposed. Sound good? Okay, all right. So tonight, Bill's not here, and he's attending his daughter's high school graduation. They've got a beautiful night for this occasion. So there will be no superintendent's report this evening. And with that, we'll move on. The committee and department reports are in our board packets. Are there any additions or deletions to be made at this time? With none, we don't have any old business or new business, but we do have a presentation this evening. Tammy Meany, our early childhood director, will share a presentation highlighting some of the work that's currently taking place within our preschool program. Turn it over to Tammy.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Share my screen with you. As with Rebecca Holthouse's presentation last month, where she was so proud to share about what they're doing with school programs, I am very pleased to present to you about our preschool program. We partner, as Southgate does, with all 17 school districts in the county, and students are referred to us by the school districts. We have preschool classes at two different sites. The first is Eastgate Early Childhood and Family Center. At Eastgate, we have 7 classrooms. 3 are for children with multiple disabilities. Children in these classes have medical, physical, and or cognitive disabilities. And then we have 4 classrooms for children with autism. And in each of these classrooms, we do include several children who are typically developing. And we feel very strongly about having those role models as part of our program, especially for language and social emotional role model. At Eastgate, we have full-time therapists at all times. We have a full-time nurse, and we also have services to support positive behavior development, such as a behavior specialist, a sensory room, and then elements of applied behavior analysis in our autism rooms. Our second site is at Taft Elementary. It's in Plain Local. And this is the location where all Plain Local preschoolers attend, along with a class for preschoolers from all over Starr County who have hearing impairment. There are a total of 6 preschool classes at Taft, with one of them being ours. Our class at Taft is designed to serve mainly children with multiple disabilities, but they also have an occasional child with autism. Our preschool therapists from Eastgate also serve the Taft class. Then our behavior specialist is also available to go over to offer consultation and supports to the teacher at Taft as well. Staff at Taft, since there's not a full-time nurse on duty, they all go through an administrative, medication administrative class. And the nurse then will delegate tasks to them, including medication administration and tube feeding. Having an embedded class does allow us the opportunity for integration, not only for our students into Gen Ed, but for the Gen Ed students to come into our program, such as in a non-COVID year, and we can't wait to get back to this next year, first graders will earn the privilege to come into our classroom to read. The beginning readers will come in, and the principal at Taft has a program where the children earn money, so to speak. And one of the things that many of them will want to purchase is the right to come and read to our students. There's also a Science Buddies program where students from Gen Ed who are working on developing leadership skills will come in and conduct science lessons with our students. And then we also are able to place our students who are going to be moving on to kindergarten the next year into kindergarten classrooms the second half of the school year, a couple afternoons a week, so that our students get to see what kindergarten is all about. So we feel very fortunate to have this program, and the teacher at Taft, Kathy Carell, does a great job leading that program for us. Many people do not realize the reviews that an Ohio Department of Education licensed preschool must go through. There's tons of paperwork, and there are two different reviews that happen. One are annual reviews that they come in unannounced and they inspect our program just to make sure that we are meeting regulations, that we are doing what we're supposed to do to keep those kids safe, we're getting all the paperwork we're supposed to get, etc. And then there's a triennial review where they come in and look at the quality of the program that we are offering. As part of that triennial review, which is called Step Up to Quality, all staff members are required to have 30 hours of professional development in early childhood every 2 years. And they monitor that very closely. And if one person misses, we lose our full 5-star rating. So it is a big deal. They want to make sure staff working in preschool, especially our 5-star rated preschool, that they are up to date on information, that they are as highly qualified as possible. We're very fortunate that we do have 5 stars. What's next for StarkDD Preschool? Well, there are some things that we have done for COVID that we want to keep. We were fortunate, not that we lost EI out of our building, but at least when they moved, it was good timing because it gave us room in our building to spread out. And so our preschool classes were able to take up extra space in the building to spread their classes out, to keep people separated more and try to keep COVID at bay. And the teachers found that these classrooms were wonderful. They were able to maybe use it for their preschool yoga, or for naps, because not everybody naps, or for different kinds of activities. And it was really, really helpful. So they've asked to keep those next year. We also only had one class in the gym at a time this year on the playground. Now we will be increasing that to 2 classes at a time next year, so we have more interaction between classrooms, but there's no more gone are the days of the open gym accident just waiting to happen kind of thing. Another thing that we're going to be working on, we had parents this year ask about what the qualifications were for our preschool staff, what kind of education they had and such. So it made us think that maybe we should put this down on paper and make it part of the annual packet we give to parents. And so with Lisa Paramore's help in getting headshots of all the staff, we're going to be working on a handout of each team so parents can see what that team is all about, who's going to be working with their child. So, we've looked at a few of the nuts and bolts of preschool, but I would like to finish with just talking about what I believe is what our preschool is truly about, and that is the staff and the students who supply the heart and soul of preschool. From a 3-year-old with autism, who by this past Christmas wasn't talking, and they were actually even talking about an electronic communication device for him. By this May, he's talking so much and his language is so good, he doesn't even qualify for speech therapy anymore. That's very exciting. To the therapist who's made countless home visits with a Spanish-speaking family who is new to our country, came to us from Honduras just to get help for their daughter. This therapist has spent an awful lot of time coordinating between the translator and the family and their schedule, ordering equipment, making sure that this brand new wheelchair that we just got for this young lady, that it is fitted specifically for her so she's more comfortable and supported, and also to help this young mother who had a stroke a few years ago. And so and she has difficulty lifting her child, and so this wheelchair is high in height and helps this mother. From the 5-year-old who had spinal surgery in November, who pushed through rehab therapy and uncomfortable cast, and he did everything he could to get those casts off his feet. He's always been in a wheelchair, and now he's able to use a walker to get around. To a young employee who started out with us a couple years ago as a quiet, shy 19-year-old who seemed afraid of her shadow, who this year took on the role as a follow-along with one of our toughest children with acting out behaviors. She was willing to learn and watch what the behavior specialist and teacher did, and she emulated their behaviors. She gained a lot of confidence, and this child is doing well and is moving on to kindergarten next year. From a girl who just turned 3 and started preschool in January, who came to school crying every day, only wanted to be around a couple staff members who looked like her mom. And now she has no more tears. She plays with peers, and she's open to new staff, and we're seeing other skills progress as well. To the staff member who provided cupcakes for a student's birthday to share for his class because mom and dad weren't able. And finally, to the child who last year when the school buildings closed was in the process of potty training, and who continued to progress in these skills at home and is now potty trained. And we chuckle because one day the teacher received a video of someone who was going to the potty. And here the parents shared this video with the teacher to let her know how well this child had progressed and how much they had persevered. So there is so much more. I could spend hours and tell you stories about every one of our staff members and every one of our parents, the support they offer, and all of the students, the achievements. But I want to end by saying this year has been one of perseverance and flexibility for the staff. I tell them they have been contortionists, not just flexible. And to quote a song from the Broadway musical Damn Yankees, you gotta have heart. It's very obvious to me that our Stark DD preschool is nothing but heart. Thank you.
Okay, very good, Tammy. Thank you. It was good presentation. Okay, so now we'll go through review a policy slated for first reading. Connie Polton will present the policies.
Good evening again. Policy 2.06 cash management was reviewed with no changes recommended. Policy 2.07 annual inventory and disposition of property was also reviewed with no changes. Policy 2.18 behavior support had some minor changes due to some revisions that were made to the Ohio Revised Code reference numbers. Policy 3.08 workplace violence prevention was reviewed with no changes recommended. Policy 4.25 professional meeting and conference absence was also reviewed with no changes recommended. Policy 5.14 suspension, removal, expulsion of students also reviewed with no changes. And finally, policy 6.13 password and policy 6.16 retention were also reviewed with no changes recommended. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Now we'll move to our resolutions. Resolution 05-17-21 approving board expenditures for April 2021. I need a motion
Piggy moves.
in a second. Can I get a second?
Valvo Lang seconds.
Thank you. And discussion from Lee.
Good evening, everyone. So for the month of April, we did receive our first half real estate tax distribution of 17.8 million. So we had total local revenues of 17.8 million. State total revenues of 199,000 and total federal of 6.2 million. Please note we did receive those 2 cost report settlements that we've talked about that we were expecting to receive this year. So total revenue for the year of $24.3 million. We had 2 payrolls during the month of $1.2 million, total benefits paid of $1.15 million, and total other expenses of $749,000 for total expenses of the month of $3.125 million. Our revenue exceeded our expenses by $21.2 million. Looking at our cash here at the bottom, we began the year with $53.6 million. We had $1.14 million in 2020 purchase orders that we carried over. So our unencumbered cash at the beginning of the year of $52.46 million. As of the end of April, we had $17.5 million in open 2021 purchase orders. Taken into account our positive net change in position, gives us unencumbered cash at the end of April of $50.5 million. And I'll just note here the difference. At this time last year, we had not received our first half real estate distribution, which is why you see this such change from this year to last. Looking at our budget versus actual, focusing on our year to date, we have received $30.6 million in revenues, which is 60% of what we've expected to receive, and just under $15 million in expenses year to date, which is 28.36%. Our target at the end of April is 33%. As of the end of the month, we also have 20.36 remaining in available budget, which is mostly made up of payroll. So our 2020 purchase orders that were carried over of $1.14 million, we paid $268 during the month of April, year to date of $255,000, and we've canceled $730,000 so far. We still have $156,000 remaining, which is mostly made up of the locally funded purchase order we keep for providers. Now looking at our resolution 51721, you can see our 2 payrolls here. The only things we had from these 2 payrolls were a couple of sick and vacation payouts due to retirements or leaving the agency. And then our week by week breakdown, the 9th, the 16th, the 23rd, and the 30th for $1.9 million. If there is no questions here, requesting approval of resolution 051721.
Okay, thank you. All in favor of the resolution, say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed, say nay. No abstentions. Financials for April are approved. Moving to resolution 051821 approves the renewal of SmartNet. I need a motion.
Probably,
Smith, motion, second, motion.
Okay, can take that in a motion and a second there. All right,
I'm sorry.
that's okay. And then we got discussion from Brandon Haney.
Good evening. The IT department is looking to, or seeking approval to purchase a 5-year SmartNet maintenance renewal contract, cost not to exceed.
Hey, Brandon, we can hardly hear you. Sorry about that. Sorry for the interruption.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can you hear me better now?
Yeah, I think so. Yep.
Okay. The IT department is seeking approval to purchase a 5-year SmartNet maintenance renewal contract at a cost not to exceed $132,200. This contract covers all of the board's networking, servers, phone system, and core switches, including all of the maintenance, support, software updates, and everything that goes with that. There's no questions, so you can approve it.
Okay, all in favor of resolution
Can I ask a
05?
question? Is that per year or is that for the whole 5 years?
That's for the whole 5 years.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Any other questions or discussion? All right, all in favor of the resolution 051821, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. No abstentions. The resolution is approved. Moving to resolution 051921 approves training financial assistance to providers so employees can complete training for the provider competency rate add-on. I need a motion
Iggy moves.
and a second.
Pava Lang seconds.
Okay, thank you. And Ed Lewis, can you provide some discussion?
Yes. Lee, are you sharing anything for this one, or? I can try. Should I just go ahead and start, Lee? Okay. The provider support and compliance department is asking that we receive board approval and support on the company-based training and longevity add-on cost for reimbursement to providers not to exceed $50,000. It is to note that in 2018, DODD did introduce this company-based training and longevity add-on. This is an add-on that allows providers to receive additional funds for services provided so that they may pay qualified staff an additional $1 per hour. This program that we are looking to begin would allow us to pay $15 per hour for up to 60 hours of training so that the DSPs may be able to complete training and the provider does not have any burden or hardship in service delivery while doing so. If there are no questions, we would seek approval.
Any questions? With none, all in favor of resolution 05-1921, say aye.
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 Opposed, say nay. No abstentions. The resolution is approved. We've got resolution 05-2021 approving the establishment of a reserve balance account and money moving into it. I need a motion
Pava Lang moves.
and a second.
Carmelita Smith, second.
Thank you. Discussion from Lee Page.
Thank you. So yes, Resolution 5/2021, we've been talking about this establishment of reserve balance account for probably a couple years. So we're bringing it at the request of the Stark County Auditor to actually establish this reserve balance account within our general operating fund for the purposes of holding funds that are not needed right now to pay for operating expenses, but that will be needed in the future to pay these operating expenses. Everything's established in accordance with the proposed Ohio Revised Code 5705-222. Furthermore, the amount to be established in this reserve balance account will not exceed $10 million. So in accordance with the Ohio Revised Code, we can request that the county auditor by resolution create this balance account for the purposes of holding that money that we're not using at this moment. Another amounts in the reserve balance account shall be considered reasonable, and they're not considered part of our unencumbered balance or revenue of the county, or can be taken in consideration by the County Budget Commission when determining whether to reduce the taxing authority of a county under section 5705-32 of the Ohio Revised Code. If there are no questions, requesting approval of resolution 05-2021.
Any questions? No questions. All in favor of resolution 05-2021, say aye.
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 Opposed, say nay. No abstention. Resolution is approved. So now we go to second reading of the board policies presented at the March board meeting and will be presented by Connie, or excuse me, at the April board meeting. So
Policy 2.26, use of board vehicles. This policy was revised to add language to specify that when using board vehicles, seatbelts are required, texting or using a handheld phone are prohibited, and any damage to the vehicle must be reported immediately. Policy 4.31, political activities, was reviewed with no changes. Policy 5.03, early intervention enrollment and child records, was also reviewed with no changes. Policy 5.04, individualized family service plan. This was slightly revised to add language stating that the use of assessments is ongoing to monitor child development. policy 5.05 early intervention, and policy 5.08 preschool program were both reviewed with no changes. And finally, policies 6.09 mobile devices and 6.12 outsourcing were both reviewed with no changes recommended. Thank you.
Okay, that brings the resolution 052121, providing approval for the board policies presented for second reading. I need a motion to approve.
Higgy moves.
A second?
Elder
Miss
Lang
second.
seconds.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions or discussion? With none, all in favor of the resolution, say aye.
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 Opposed, say nay. No abstentions. Board policies are approved. Okay, just a reminder, our next regular board meeting, which will be virtual, is slated for June 29th at 6 p.m. I now need a motion to adjourn.
Salvo Lang moves.
And a second.
Higgy seconds.
Thank you. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, say nay. No abstentions. We are adjourned at 6:33. Thank you,
Thank you.
everyone.
Thanks, Dan. Stay safe,
Thank you,
everyone.
Bye,
everybody.
everybody. Stay
Take
healthy.
care.
Yep.
Take
keep it-
care.